All right, so it's Christmas time 2022, and I'm doing my absolute best to conceal the sheer anxiety that I'm feeling right now. I'm sitting around this big table, sharing Christmas dinner with my ex girlfriend's family. It's probably around 20 people here that I've never met before in my life, and I am freaking out. Now, the reason I'm freaking out isn't just because I'm meeting all of them for the first time, and I really want them to like me. The main reason is that most of the people at this table don't even speak English. See, I'm visiting her family out in Switzerland. None of them grew up speaking English. I didn't try very hard in French class, so I have no way to communicate with any of them, or I'm entirely dependent on my ex to speak on my behalf. I don't really have a way of making a good impression on them or showing them who I am or convincing them that I'm deserving of their daughter or whatever. And I am feeling so awkward and uncomfortable because, everyone here is friendly. They're nice to me, but when you can't even have a basic conversation with someone, there's not a lot you can do. And my girlfriend's just going off to speak to her cousins. She's leaving me on her own. I'm just sat there in silence, not really feeling included. And I'm having to take breaks to the bathroom just to, calm myself down because I'm feeling that self-conscious, like I just don't belong there. And I leave feeling like I've completely fumbled the whole thing. Like they all think I'm some awkward guy, or they're negatively judging me for not learning any French before I came out, like I couldn't even be bothered. And the flashbacks of this painful experience are just haunting me all the way home on my trip back to the UK. And it's only on the ride back from the airport, the taxi ride, that I start to notice an interesting side effect to this whole experience. So I'm speaking to this taxi driver sitting next to me. We've got a long ride ahead of us. And for some reason, I've got this new appreciation for conversation. It's like you wouldn't have been able to shut me up in that moment. I was just talking and talking and talking. Me and this guy, we started getting into these really deep chats about philosophy and politics. Like, we became best friends over that entire ride. And the main reason I found that interesting was because, generally I might have a little bit of anxiety about speaking to this guy for that long. I might be feeling a little bit awkward, or I'd come across as unfriendly. But that particular day, I turned into the most charismatic person on earth. I had an unlimited amount of things to talk about with this guy, and I didn't feel anxious whatsoever in that moment. And this actually lasted for probably the next 4 days after coming back from that trip. My anxiety was at an all-time low. I'd be in the gym just making so many new friends that week. Like, I felt so comfortable talking to strangers and people I didn't know. Like I said, I just felt like I was my most charismatic self after this trip. And the reason I'm telling you this is because those two events are actually connected. That really awkward, uncomfortable dinner actually proved to me that social anxiety functions a little bit like a muscle. It is actually something that you can train to feel better about. So what I found is that after you put yourself through socially challenging situations like the one that I went through, things that really pique your anxiety and they're real tests to go through. After you get through that, you actually experience something which I call the afterglow effect, where for a temporary period of time, let's say about 4 days, you'll feel less anxious and more charismatic in comparable social situations. So things that might have caused you anxiety before, they no longer affect you as much. So it's kind of like the gym when you start off with a very heavy set for your first set. So let's say you bench 100 kg for your first set and it's heavy, it's challenging, it's uncomfortable, but you get through it. And for your next set, you drop the weight to around 80 kg. So it's still a challenging weight. But because you've benched that heavier weight first, it feels so much lighter in comparison. It feels so much easier. when technically speaking, it is still a challenging weight, but it no longer feels like as much of a challenge because you did that hard weight first. So in the same way, if you push through that socially challenging experience, even when it's uncomfortable and you're anxious and you don't want to be there, you will have the afterglow effect on the other side of it. You will experience that temporary boost in charisma and reduction in anxiety because you could be bothered to do the hard thing. But the catch is you can only sustain that afterglow for a couple of days before you have to do another challenging thing to get that boost again. So the most important thing we can do is keep on pushing ourselves to train that muscle, to become more comfortable with the uncomfortable. But I'm going to give you one of my best ever frameworks, which is honestly going to make it super easy to get through those socially challenging situations to the afterglow, to reach that most charismatic version of yourself without having all of that anxiety along the way, like I was experiencing at that dinner. So this is my social flow framework, and it is designed to take you from that most antisocial version of yourself. Maybe you've been sitting inside all day, not talking to anyone, to the most confident, anxiety-free, charismatic version of you in 5 steps. So this is really practical. So use this every time you need to get into a more social mood. Maybe you're going to a party or on a night out, you're meeting a bunch of friends. So step 1, just start talking to yourself out loud. Find any reason you can to just start talking to yourself. So you could start doing this before you've left the house, or maybe you're walking to the venue. What I'll do is I'll literally just describe the week I've been having up to that point. I'll just start talking out loud. Or, if you're in a public place and you don't feel comfortable doing it, sometimes I will just pull out my phone and have a fake phone conversation. I'll pretend I'm talking to someone, just so it doesn't look as weird. But again, yeah, this might sound like something kind of strange, or, what is this even doing? But especially when you've been inside all day and not really been socializing, just hearing the sound of your own voice, it really grounds you. It brings you out into the present moment. And when you're not present, when you're stuck in your own head, that's when you're having the most anxious thoughts. So really what this is going to do is just bring you out of your head and back into the present. So step 2 is to force your first interaction with a stranger. Again, just like step 1, we just want to find any reason we can to begin that process of being social. Literally come up with any reason you can. Like, it could be asking a stranger for directions to a place you're not actually trying to go to. Or something I like to do is I'll just go in the shop and, buy something small like a piece of gum, and I'll force myself to ask the shopkeeper one question. How was your day going? Had any interesting customers today? Again, just getting that first win, forcing yourself out of your head and into that more social frame of mind. So step 3, the best mindset I think for socializing, and probably the most fun mindset as well, is that of giving value away, of spreading positivity to someone else. That is the best frame of mind for socializing and, having fun conversations. So step 3 is to give a sincere, genuine compliment to the first person you see. Don't even think about it too much. Just go up to a stranger and give them a compliment. One that's very obvious to me, and, it's kind of risk averse as well. It's not going to get you in any trouble. It's just complimenting their outfit or an item that they're wearing. Because especially if it's on a night out or something, people put in lots of effort into their appearance and they want that validation, but rarely do people actually show it to them. So go and give them a sincere compliment on their shoes or their jacket, just their outfit, and try your best to spread that positive energy and make them feel good. So step 3 is just rinsing and repeating step 4. Go and give 5 more compliments to 5 more strangers. Keep that positive energy flowing. And also go in with the mindset that actually this might lead to a fun conversation. Don't just give the compliment and immediately exit. Allow it to turn into something. If it goes in the direction of a fun conversation, then see it out, because it's only helping you warm up and get out of your head even more. And if you've done that enough, you've given out enough compliments, and trust me, you will know when you've reached this point, then that's when we've arrived at step 5. And step 5 isn't really a step. I don't know why I called it that, but hopefully this is you at your most socially outgoing. You're really comfortable where you are. You've achieved this elite level of presence in all your conversations. You're not super self-conscious anymore. You're just here and in the moment, having fun conversations. And this kind of energy you tap into at step 5 or level 5, I'd almost describe this as the same level of comfort and confidence you can get when you're drunk. You're very comfortable just speaking to a bunch of people you don't know. You're able to be quite loud and extroverted, even when you're more of an introverted kind of guy like me. And you just have like an unlimited amount of things to talk about, because conversations are genuinely that fun. That is the idea that I'm trying to sell to you. Like, this is the ideal endpoint for social skills. Like, everything just feels so fun and entertaining, and like, you absolutely can't get enough of conversation itself. And if you can get to that point, then you'll be riding the afterglow that I was talking about for like the next 4 days. The next 4 days are going to be exactly like this. You're just going to feel at your absolute A game in terms of socializing, your most charismatic self. So why would you not want to achieve that? Why would you not want that to be your default setting for social skills? So follow that framework from beginning to end, and the sky is the absolute limit, my friends, for what you can achieve. Take care, bro. I'll see you in the next one.